Movies based on video games. What can I say that hasn't been said already? Even movie critics who've never picked up a controller in their fucking lives know that when another one comes out, it's most likely going to be another never-ending sub-sandwich of ass. And it would be just too easy to make a video just ranting about all the sucky-ass ones. But, I want to do something different. Sometimes writers and producers and directors actually get it right. For one thing, I know it's not a movie, but one thing I really think nailed its source material was the old US Mega Man cartoon. Now, I know a lot of purists whine and bitch about saying it was Americanized, and what about other things like, oh no, he doesn't change color when he uses another weapon. You know what? Fuck you. This show got more things right than wrong. It's colorful, flashy, hyperactive, lots of jumping and shooting, lots of good music, just like the actual Mega Man games. Another thing is just about every major character from the original series was in this cartoon and instantly recognizable. Well, except for Roll, but they made her look even cooler anyway. But seriously, people, what looks more like the Robot Masters from the original Mega Man? These guys? Or these guys? Yeah, fuck off. I mean, come on, there was even one episode that had characters from Mega Man X. And the thing that made the Mega Man game so awesome in the first place, copying the weapons of your enemies, oh, that was used here constantly and brilliantly. The only truly glaring inconsistency is how Proto Man is a bad guy, but I guess the writers felt they had to have a dark foil for Mega Man, and since this cartoon came out before Bass came along, it's something I can easily overlook. But enough about cartoons. Let's talk about full-length films that, to liberally borrow a quote, did not suck monkey fuck. So here they are, the 5 very best video game movies. Let's start this off right with number 5, Street Fighter II, the anime movie. Unlike the insultingly vapid 1994 live-action movie and the watchable but cliché Legend of Chun-Li, this movie nails everything a Street Fighter fan could ask for in a full-length film. First off, the plot is elegantly simple, and it works. You've got the criminal Empire Shadowlaw, run by M. Bison, Vega, Sagat, and Balrog, fucking shit up all over the world, and all the other Street Fighter characters get caught up in it in one way or another. Part of the movie is about Guile and Chun-Li teaming up to investigate Shadowloo activity. It was quite interesting watching them interact, and eventually coming to respect one another after a horrible first meeting. But most of the film centers on Ryu and Ken, and the deep sense of friendship and respect they share for one another. In this movie, M. Bison is on the lookout for Street Fighters he can convert into killing machines, and he eventually sets his sights on Ryu and Ken. The film has a good mix of action and plot development throughout, and it all builds to one kick-ass explosive battle against M. Bison at the end. Unfortunately, not enough time could be devoted to all the other characters, and they only show up in brief battles. You have Zhangji fighting Blanka, and Dalsim fighting E. Honda, after the latter shows up at the end for some reason. But their inclusion is sure to please the fanboys, as well as having stuff like this. So yeah, it captures the look and feel of the games and the personalities of the characters. I can't imagine anyone who ever enjoyed Street Fighter being displeased with this movie. Moving on. At number 4, we have the movie adaptation of the FPS classic, Doom. Now this film got a lot of flack from fans of Doom, but you see, I was never really that taken in by Doom, but I found this movie very entertaining. So the fact that a non-fan like myself was able to watch it and have a good time, I think that really says something. But a fellow YouTuber, NecroVMX, who is a fan of Doom, and not too long ago did a whole playthrough of the original, has this to say about it.
I mean, I like the Doom movie, and everybody fucking hated that. They were like, oh, it doesn't have anything to do with the game. Yeah, but you know what? It was a fun movie.
So there you have it, a ringing endorsement from a fan. Now, it hardly had an Oscar-winning plot, certainly nothing that approaches the greatness of sci-fi action classics like Terminator 2 and Aliens. But hey, it was good, dopey, fun. There was plenty of action, and the story kept me interested till the very end. Oh, and you gotta love that part near the end, where the hero is blasting the fuck out of everything in first person. So yeah, bottom line, Doom does more than enough to separate itself from all the other shit kickery out there. And here, sitting pretty at number 3, we have Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. First off, let me say that while I think Final Fantasy VII was one of the best RPGs of its generation, it's hardly my favorite Final Fantasy. It's like number 4 on my list, and I really don't understand the gushing praise and worship it always gets. Personally, I would have rather seen a CG movie about Final Fantasy VIII, or some cutesy anime movie about Tactics Advance. But despite my personal preferences, I can't deny I had fun watching this movie. First of all, the CG animation is simply breathtaking. The only CGI movie I can think of off the top of my head that looks better is Monsters vs. Aliens, and only when you see it in IMAX with those dipshitty 3D glasses. As for the plot, here's the funny thing. I can never remember what the plot is really about. Something about some disease affecting all the children and these remnants of Sephiroth or some shit like that. Still, every time I pop it in, I'm totally absorbed. It's great to see all these characters and locations from the game again, even if most of the characters like Barrett and Yuffie only show up in the last half hour or so. And the climactic final battle? Now, I never liked Sephiroth. I always thought he was tied with Kefka as one of the lamest video game villains ever, but the final battle was pretty freaking sweet and over the top. But most importantly, this more than makes up for the fuck bucket that was Final Fantasy The Spirits Within. I remember seeing that piece of shit with my girlfriend at the time. Halfway through the movie, we just said fuck it was so boring and just started making out. But unlike that pathetic excuse for a movie, this one actually has a plot, and actually has something to do with Final Fantasy games, even if there still isn't a goddamn chocobo in sight. No doubt there are some who've been typing angry comments already, but here's one I'm sure everyone can get behind. The original Mortal Kombat. Aside from some CG effects that look like they're from a Sci-Fi Channel original movie, this movie has aged remarkably well. It's kind of hard to explain why. I really think it's because the filmmakers set out to make a quality movie that anyone could enjoy, not just fans of the game. Right from the outset, the film does a superb job introducing all the characters, and the 3 heroes, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade, grow and develop throughout the film. This focus on the characters is what impressed me the most because, personally, I think fighting games must be the hardest to convert into a film adaptation. The storylines are simple enough to work with, but there's just so many characters fans expect, but somehow this movie made it work. You are never really bored. Either there's suspenseful build-up going on, or you're treated to some great action sequences with solid choreography and good effects for the time. It just keeps building and building, and by the end, you're pumped for the climactic showdown between good and evil. And the most amazing thing is, this is another franchise I'm really not all that into. When I think of quality fighting games, I think of Street Fighter, Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, or even Super Smash Bros., not Mortal Kombat. This was meant to be a quality movie, it's just not a piece of fan service. It takes itself seriously as a movie. But not too seriously. Now, for the longest time, Mortal Kombat was the one movie that most gamers thought got it right, so I bet you're wondering what could possibly top it. Well, just like Mortal Kombat, it'd have to be something that treated its source material with total respect while making a film that anyone could enjoy. And a few years ago, one movie finally delivered. Welcome to Silent Hill. Other than playing the original Metroid as a kid, the original Silent Hill is the only game that ever truly creeped me out. It's just so atmospheric, immersive, and it really pushes all your buttons. So when I heard there was going to be a Silent Hill movie, I was excited despite the horrible track record of video games on the big screen. I saw this movie on opening day, and I left the theater 100% satisfied. Everything felt perfect. I mean, just seeing the main character run down the foggy, abandoned streets of Silent Hill with ash falling everywhere brought back fond memories of the original game. Uh-oh, here we go, coming across the street that's now nothing but a chasm. Oh shit, radios and cell phones emitting white noise whenever monsters draw near. Oh yes, being a fan, I caught all the little nods to the series, and I was continuously impressed by how well the Silent Hill gameplay translated into on-screen action. The gory atmosphere, constantly hunting for clues, and watching Silent Hill transform into its nightmarish otherworldly twin really sent chills up my spine. And unlike the pathetic excuses for Koopas and Goombas in Super Mario Bros., you'll recognize all the enemies here. Look out, there's a straight-jacketed zombie thing that spits out, oh shit! Heh, you can't have Silent Hill without the basket case zombie nurses. Shit, Pyramid Head, y'all bitches are fucked now. As for the plot, other than Alessa Gillespie and the ultra-hot cop Sybil, it really doesn't use many characters from the series, and it does take some liberties with the overall mythos. But such decisions were made for the sake of making a solid, suspenseful horror film, and it got so many other things right that I don't even mind. This hooked me from beginning to end, and while it doesn't exactly have a happy ending, there is a moral to the story. Organized religion sucks ass. Lastly, I've read that Konami was scrupulous about making sure that a good movie was made out of one of their franchises, and that's why they chose Christopher Gans and Roger Avary to produce this movie. If so, I look forward to the inevitable big screen debut of Solid Snake and the Belmonts. But even if those end up sucking elephant cock, I'll always have this: the greatest movie based on a video game of all time.